Hello and we welcome you to the latest edition of Flashback, a look back at some of the key moments of the history of N.E.W. I'm your host tonight, Max Raddox, alongside the four-time N.E.W. World Heavyweight Champion Irwin. And Irwin, this is a match that you were actually involved with.
It's a very interesting match indeed. It's been dug out of the archives. It's from the very first show we did during what's been dubbed on our Amino as the test period. Essentially, it's when we were drumming up funds for the proper show to launch. And yeah, the first ever main event, me and Simon Youngblood in a Hell in a Cell.
Yeah, I mean, Simon Youngblood, of course, one of our more infamous performers now on N.E.W., known as the Lionheart, and for good reason. I mean, this really must have been a shot at nothing. I mean, it's a great house, as you can see here, very early days for N.E.W., as I believe this is you, is it? In your earlier hockey mask, how fittingly disturbing. But I mean, this must have been make or break. It's a Hell in a Cell. That cell structure cannot have been cheap, considering this is the very early days of the company. So
the booking committee had thrown everything at this to try and get it to stick, essentially. Thankfully, it did. But yeah, they wanted to make a big impact with the first show.
Well, legend has it that you did exactly that. I'm seeing this match actually for the very first time here live tonight, so it's going to be an interesting one to see. Irwin, of course, 4 world titles. This is all before any of those. I mean, you're still relatively young in your career here, so what are your thoughts? What's going through your mind? Your first ever Hell in a Cell match?
Again, it was probably my first ever main event. It was a very big idea and a very hard one to sort of get ready for.
Baptism of fire, well and truly. Pressure, excitement,
and the habit of being known to go a bit extreme. I mean, I saw it as an opportunity to showcase that.
Well, that's interesting. You see, I think there's some very good camera work there. This is clearly not a sellout. You see a lot of empty seats there. I bet that were a couple of producers. Simon Youngblood, the Lionheart, former world champion himself, great intercontinental champion in his day. I think he's got another world title running in him, Irwin. What do you think?
Oh, certainly. I mean, as you can see from this, he's leaned out a lot since. Of course, prefers to come through the audience now. You once asked if he ever hasn't. Well, here's your answer, actually coming down the ring ramp for a change.
That is actually a first. Clearly didn't have the security back then we have now. Well, I mean, considering how they've been working lately. Oh, no, the old ref shirts. Oh, my God, Mike looks young in this. That is Mike Kyoto, ladies and gentlemen. That is our senior official. He still has black hair. This is how long ago... Oh, dear God. This one started off ugly.
Well, again, Hell in a Cell. I felt like I needed to show something here, but so did Simon Youngblood. I've got a lot of respect for the man.
Oh, well, yeah, well, I think that's actually a good question. What's your relationship like with Simon Youngblood now?
Oh, I mean, we're good friends. I think he's more thankful I'm out of ring experience now.
Shot to the back of the head there, Irwin, with that chair.
Probably for reasons like that.
Well, so mutual respect, you say, from these two guys now.
Certainly. I mean, we're both very sporting, and we both knew we were going to take it to the extreme on this night. It wasn't anything personal.
Oof, a big shot to the face there by Youngblood. Yeah, I can see what you mean here. Youngblood, much different looking competitor nowadays. Certainly a lot chunkier back then. Certainly stockier, to say the very least. Jumping swinging DDT there by Irwin. A classic. Dusting that one off.
Oh yeah.
So any injuries from this match that we should be aware of? I mean, of course. I mean, the potential for injuries. Steel chairs. You're in a steel cage with a roof, essentially. So it's going to get ugly. Those wafer thin mats. We talk about those when we're calling matches nowadays. So there's a lot of potential here for injuries. Were you a Youngblood hurt during this match? Or?
Well, I think we both left with bangs and bruises, but thankfully, nothing too severe.
Oh, missing with the crossbody there. Got a hell of a lot of distance on that one.
I always like to see how far I could actually leap in that ring. Oof.
Yeah.
Never managed a coast to coast.
Oh, this is perhaps one of the reasons you took early retirement, matches like this.
Well, yeah, I mean, I knew my style wasn't going to grant me a lot of time in that ring, but I felt I could certainly make an impact with it.
Tremendous cannonball, 4 world titles. You certainly did that. Top rope again. Oh, great flurry.
Yeah, back when I was trying to use the frog splash as a finisher.
Oh, Frog splash. Shades of the late great Eddie Guerrero there, got you a 2.
And that is exactly why I left the ring.
Yep, getting
The
a chair.
intended finisher did not do the damage.
Simon Youngblood clearly already earning his Lionheart status, going right back at you. Oh my word, that's that. These matches are ugly. I mean,
yeah, again, it's the core of the New Extremes brand, essentially. I mean, you don't have New Extremes without the Extreme.
shades of our own Kobayashi there with that bloody rising sun kick you just did there, Irwin. I never knew you could kick that high.
Part of the reason Kobayashi has ended up in this company. I was a great influence on my style.
Of course, Kobayashi here. Another one of the veterans here in N.E.W, but oh my word. See, one of our old tech desks as well.
Oh yeah.
It's not the first time that was tried.
Yeah, again, a lot of experimentation at this time. And it was the booking committee way before Adrian Goldman was take over ownership.
So yeah, I mean, actually, that's an interesting one. I mean, Adrian Goldman, who is now obviously the CEO, he's the owner of the entire company at this point, and he's just another wrestler. He's just one of you guys. He's in the locker room. I mean,
Yeah, member of the $1 million corporation.
So what is the difference between Adrian Goldman, the wrestler, and Adrian Goldman, the owner? Hell of a kick there by yourself.
Well, Goldman as a wrestler would use his influence to get what he wants. He doesn't seem to be doing that really anymore. Seems to have turned over a new leaf as CEO, giving everyone a quite fair opportunity. I mean, granted, I think there are still people he does perhaps pick on, but I can't say that they don't deserve it from time to time.
Yeah, I mean, I would say on a whole, I mean, he's a madman. There's no doubt about that. I mean, his rage is now legendary. We talk about it on shows sometimes. He's very particular in what he likes and what he doesn't like. Going for a pin here. Oh, it's close.
Again, very close. I mean, Youngblood's such the competitor.
Yeah, there's considerable size difference here as well. I mean, you've got to be thinking, I mean, what do I have to do to put this bear down?
Well, that's it. I mean, I'm only 5'9". I was definitely not the heaviest on the roster. In fact, I think at this point in time, I was the second lightest.
Well, there you have it. So he's got the height, weight, reach advantage. And he can pull out.
He still pulls off perfectly to this day.
The Simon Youngblood, that infamous moonsault, and one of the best moonsaults in the business, no question about it. It's a real highlight for me to see these type of matches. Wasn't really with the company at this point in time, so this is a treat for both us and myself and the viewers here, hopefully.
Yeah, and thankfully they got me out of their attempt at getting me to do commentary over the top of it. Oh! At least for the time being, Adrian Goldman, of course, reviving that.
Yes, well, I mean, oh dear Lord. Adrian Goldman, obviously a twisted individual, putting you behind the microphone. Oh my Lord. Hard shot there. I think that was a low blow, Irwin. That looked like a low blow to me. I know this is Extreme Rules, but you don't kick a man with jewels.
Executed.
Perfectly executed.
Atomic drop. Again, the cage coming into play here. These were the moments that I wanted to kind of make here in N.E.W. Especially this.
Oh my Lord.
Caught me off guard there.
Sorry, I was getting sucked into the match there, but what a suplex. Dear Lord. You don't see that every day. Oh God. Right onto the outside. Right, so you're now outside the cell. I mean, the reaction from the crowd at this point, I mean, we can't really hear the fans here, but they must have been sensing that they were about to see something potentially, well, death-defying.
Oh yeah, I mean, at this point I thought somehow that being up there would be safer than being down on the mats with Youngblood.
God, that is 16, 18 feet.
I didn't even know at the time. I still don't know now. It's a huge structure, though.
I mean, is it just fear, or is it? Oh, sweet Jesus! Is it fear, or is it adrenaline at this point? Or what exactly?
Shades of both, definitely. I mean, a lot of adrenaline running through my body being up that high. I mean, I'm no I don't really have a fear of heights, but there's always
good
that sense
lord.
of dread being up there without any kind of barrier stopping
These
you
guys
from
are
falling off.
dangerously close to the edge here. Oh my word. That is a spine-tingling drop. That's some,
Again, that mesh started to buckle under my feet, which also gave me a cause for concern.
I love like, look, the difference here in the crowd size. I mean, you know, nowadays it just shows how far we have come here as a company. I mean, this would be a packed house on most brawls nowadays, and look at the empty seats. Just these two guys just beating the holy shit out of each other. Excuse my language here.
This is exactly why I always boast for people like Simon Youngblood to get the opportunities for the World Championship, for example, because he has paved the way with blood, sweat and bruises.
Well, I mean,
for the newcomers nowadays.
I don't think anyone could say that Simon Youngblood was, and yourself indeed, were both pivotal to the early success of N.E.W. I mean, matches like this. I had the opportunity to speak to Simon Youngblood earlier in the day, and I asked him about this match, and his only words to me were, "It was a wild one." Well, underestimation of the year. I think this has been insane. I'm just happy that neither of you guys have gone off the hard way. Well, not yet anyway. I've absolutely no idea what's going to happen here. I mean, I think we can, you know, give away a little bit of the magic here. Are you two guys planning on anything insane, or is it just one of those waiting? Oh dear lord!
It's exactly a wait and see moment up there. I mean,
has
again,
it been
duking
reinforced?
out at that height. I mean, neither of us had any idea on how we were going to get back down.
well, yeah. What goes up must come down at some point. The laws of gravity are the same for any man.
Of course, these blackouts that you're seeing, there is actually a cause for concern with our original providers for the amount of blood they were seeing. I mean, they weren't bothered about all the risk up there.
Oh, dear lord.
It was the blood that was spewing out of Youngblood's head, and again, part of the changes were that we made sure that that could be seen. That was part of the extreme thing.
How far you were there to literally running off the edge of this cell. Oh, I mean, technically it's a cell match. I mean, can you pin someone on top of a cell?
I believe at the time we could. That rule has changed from time to time. The referee, of course, stood in the ring waiting for us to return.
I can just imagine, I mean, having sat on the odd committee for N.E.W, I can imagine what those men must be thinking right now, sat around the monitor out back, just watching this unfold, knowing at some point, inevitably, one of you guys are coming down. It's just a question of how.
Yeah, the brutality of what's happened already up there. Again, at this point, I was just thinking, like, we're in the centre, at the top of the cell. One of us is going to have to go off the edge.
Oof. I mean, this is it's slightly uncomfortable. I mean, Youngblood giving as good as he gets, I might add. My word, he must have been in a tremendous amount of pain at this point in the matchup.
Oh, both of us were. Again, to escape with only pangs and bruises. Was very lucky.
Must have a few stitches for Youngblood through the fall, or did he just glue it?
You'd have to ask him on that one.
Well, I'm certainly gonna ask Simon again about this match the next time I see him. My word, Hurricane Rana, right on the top of that cell. By God!
I mean, you can you can see the level of fatigue at this point between both of us.
Well, you know, as a commentator, as a broadcaster, I can imagine watching a match like this and thinking internally, what in the name of God do you say if a human being comes hurtling towards the ground? I mean, from an 18-foot.
Well, yeah, we've all heard the infamous calls.
Yeah.
I mean, they were running through my mind at this point. I mean, every time I edged closer to that edge, was exactly what was going through my mind.
Oof. I mean, now, I mean, okay, you've probably been in more Hell in the Cells than any competitor on the N.E.W roster today, with a possible exception of your opponent in this match, Simon Youngblood. So now you've seen the other side, if you will. I mean, you sit at the table with me now, week in, week out. Do you want to see the youngsters take this kind of risk, or do you think that was best left in the past?
Well, there is a part of me that does yearn to see matches like this again, but yeah, the risk must be realised if that is going to occur.
You practically dropped from the top of that cell there. That is tremendous athleticism. You landed on your feet and performed a hurricane round there. I mean, no wonder you hobble from time to time now.
Yeah, my back isn't at its best form. That's an understatement.
Simon Youngblood, he's still in this thing. He's lost a lot of blood, mercifully. Both these guys back on the ground where they belong. I cannot get over how young Mike looks.
Youngblood making that lead to come back down was a blessing in disguise for me, really.
Thank God we got Mike out of that dicky ball. My word, I'm going to mock him for that later. It's been a great match.
And of course the blue ring as well. I mean, a lot of the stuff, there's kind of hand-me-downs, if you will, at this point.
The old red, white and blue ring ropes. You pinch this ring from a good old US of A. Or?
Well, again, we were in America at this point.
Oh, well, that explains it. There you are. Where was this match?
I forget now. I'd have to look that one up.
Oh, my word. Somewhere in America. It's Hell in a Cell. And I think the producers were a little bit ambitious about the size of the house, if we're being totally honest with us. Now you see it, now you've seen a couple more of the spanning shots, but look at that, the people who are there are engrossed. The very beginning of what has become a historic Hell in a Cell. Oh, another frog splash. Mike makes a count, and there it is. Beautiful bridge there. Great matchup between yourself and Simon Youngblood, the first ever N.E.W main event.
Yeah, it was certainly a very interesting match, and it was great fun watching it back. And there will be more to come from Flashback. Every month that we don't have a free extended event, there will be a Flashback on the last Sunday. We look forward to seeing more.
Here is your winner, Dynamite at Irwin.
He gets a big victory here tonight. Love him or hate him, that was an incredible match.